it by a friend of mine or something, and then they'll play it in the party and they'll get a sick response. And then that feeling itself was bonkers. Like, that's crazy.
Crazy. That must be like scoring a last minute goal or something.
Literally, like, yo, listen, I can't even explain how gassed I was off of that, innit? But in terms of that, yeah, like that inspired me. That gave me a bit of fire in my belly to be like, you know what, like, you should do this. You should actually you should do this. But at the same time, I was at a crossroads. I was still thinking, obviously I'm at Cheltenham, but I'm trying to think, I need to make it back to where I was. I can't be doing music, but
all right, so your music in all of this, describe the journey alongside your football, how that's basically had an impact in your life, your career, and everything going on. Because I know people who make music, they're very, number one, they're intelligent people, they're very creative people, and everyone who I know who made music or who makes music now, they've been doing it from young. I just never knew. For whatever reason, I just never knew the people who played football and made music. So describe your journey with music.
yeah, so sort of like what you said, I've been sort of making music, recording music since I was in school. Like, I first made my first audio song, whatever you want to call it, when I was in year 8. I remember just started off from just being around friends in school, really. And I think I kind of see with, like, everyone knew I was a footballer and whatnot, but I tried to, like, just live sort of a normal, different sort of life and just be involved in what everyone else was involved in. And yeah, a lot of my friends, especially in the area as well, was making music. Like, they call it like spitting bars, writing lyrics and all of that sort of stuff. And the genre at the time that was popping was grime. And like, I was like heavily like listening to grime and whatnot and inspired by what I was hearing and etc. And then yeah, I tried it out. At first wasn't that great. And then yeah, I was just practicing, I was just having fun with it. And then shortly after, like, I was like fairly decent. And then I got accepted quite well by like my friends in school. And yeah, just continued making music here and there every now and again, because the school that I went to was actually a music school. So we actually had a recording studio in the school as well. So there's pure people like that were just making music just for the fun of it. So like at lunch times, instead of going out to play football or playing basketball or whatever, like, we would book studio sessions and come and listen to whatever. Pardon?
Basketball, yeah?
Hey, yeah, listen, I was proper into basketball as well in school. That's another like big hobby that I had as well, like, I'll be honest with you. But yeah, so people would be going into the studio making songs, like not just my age group as well, like literally the whole school, in terms of the guys, especially like from year 7 all the way to year 11, as people that were making music. And more so the older lot were sort of known in and around, let's say, the borough, whereas like we were making a name for ourselves in the school. And then as we got older, like people that continued making music, such as myself, sort of like the sound sort of traveled out into the borough as well. And then again, when other people from different schools heard my material, like getting told that, you know, they liked it as well, they're playing it out loud on buses and in the school and all of that sort of stuff. But relating this back to football now, obviously playing for a big club like Arsenal, so this is just a pastime hobby sort of thing. I'm never thinking, oh, I'm gonna take this serious. I always thought that if I was to take it serious, I'd be pretty good at it if I had the right resources around me and network of people around me. But like, yeah, I'm at Arsenal, and this era of football, that this time generation, whatever you want to call it, like, didn't really feel comfortable playing football and then having another venture where where it could be, I don't know, starting a clothing line, um, owning some sort of business. To be fair, I was young at the time as well, starting music and all of that sort of stuff. Like, didn't want to be looked at as someone that's not taking football serious. Like, I'm not like at this period of time in my career, I'm not anywhere near where I want to be. But then I'm making music, so I didn't want that to be like a stigma as to why I wouldn't get a contract at Arsenal or anywhere else, sort of thing. So um, just sort of kept it under the wraps. To be fair, like people in my age group at Arsenal, they knew that I made music and whatnot. I think a few of us actually made music as well. Not gonna say no names. Yeah. Then what happened? Yeah. So after when I started getting into full-time football a bit more, such as scholarship terms. So that's when you're training every day now. It's not just training 2, 3 times a week, going to school here and there. Like I'm fully focused on football. Um, Rarely would go to the studio. Like would maybe like mess around and make lyrics, voice note it in group chats and whatnot amongst other people. Um, yeah, like I think I didn't really start. I think there was a period where when I was out between Arsenal and Bristol, I wasn't making music and all of that sort of stuff. But people knew that I made music. Like I think Do you know about MySpace?
Yeah, of course, man. I got older brother, so I had
Yeah, yeah,
MySpace. I don't think I had MySpace actually. I had Bebo though. I had Bebo.
yeah. Bebo was my generation thing as well. I can't lie, but yeah. So I think that might have been going on or just died out shortly after. But people knew about like what I used to do and knew about my profiles on there sort of thing. But sort of left that alone, deleted it after a while. Then I think when I was at Cheltenham, I'm pretty sure it was when I was at Cheltenham, um, I sort of I was in and out again. People within football was actually making music, and they were just putting it out on places like SoundCloud and then just sharing it amongst people. So I thought, you know what, let me just try this as well because it's something that I'm not new to. I know I can do it. Some people know that I'm what I'm capable of and whatnot, but it's just a bit of fun. Like just go down to the studio with a couple pals, then record over any little instrumental that I get my hands on. Then ended up doing a song. Ended up doing a little freestyle over Beanie Man's Girl Them Sugar instrumental. Then within like 2, 3 months, it had like 40K plays on SoundCloud. And I don't know how that happened to this day. I don't know how it happened, don't know why it happened, but from that point, pardon? Oh,
Algorithm.
algorithm. Yeah, no. In terms of the algorithm, I know it was because of the algorithm, but in terms of I don't know how or why it even propelled because there's since then I've obviously put out other things on SoundCloud that I would probably say was better than that and hasn't done anywhere near half the numbers. And it was a thing where I wasn't taking it serious. I just put it out there, put it up. I wasn't promoting or anything. I might have just played it on my Snapchat. Some people that was within my circle would have obviously heard about it, then probably showed their friends and etc. And yeah, basically it just blew up a bit. Then here and there, I'm starting to think, not that I'm gonna take music serious, but I'm just gonna start getting back into the flow of things, like just making songs here and there whenever I can be asked or whenever there's an opportunity to go to the studio. That's what I did, and I feel like with that song that I mentioned, I had a few moments where like I'll go to a party that was like hosted by a friend of mine or something, and then they'll play it in the party and they'll get a sick response. And then that feeling itself was bonkers. Like that's crazy.
Crazy. That
And
must be like scoring a last minute goal or something. I don't
literally
know.
like yo, listen, I can't even explain how gassed I was off of that in it. But in terms of that, yeah, like that inspired me. That gave me a bit of fire in my belly to be like, you know what, like you should do this. You should actually you should do this. But at the same time, I was at a crossroads. I was still thinking, obviously I'm at Cheltenham, but I'm trying to think, I need to make it back to where I was. I can't be doing music, but cool, this is a hobby. I'm just gonna do it here and there. But then football's my main passion. It's my main career goal and everything. So yeah, I definitely put music to the back burner, but I was just making songs on the sly here and there, just putting it out there, same as what I was doing before. Then it got to a point. So after Cheltenham, I've obviously dropped down the leagues now, and it got to a point where I'm sort of thinking about my career in football and what I'm gonna do after football. Then looking at people around me, what are they doing? I'm listening to music as well. I'm thinking a lot of my friends, a lot of people that heard my music always used to say stuff like there's people that's getting played on the radio, people that are doing shows, and you're better than them, all of that sort of stuff. And sometimes you'll go in and out of one ear sort of thing. It's just like I'm just trying to focus on football, to be honest, and I don't really care about that. Then yeah, when I sort of had that that moment when I was just thinking about my career, I thought about what would I actually do. Then a couple of things came to my head, but then it's like I want to do something that I enjoy, like a passion of mine. What's a passion of mine? Music. So I knew that there was going to be a point where I was going to take it serious, but at that point I wasn't ready to take it there, just because again I mentioned it earlier about like the network of people within the music industry, the resources available to me. Like, bro, you know, it's expensive going to the studio and just recording a song, let alone getting it mixed, getting a music video done, putting it on channels and all of that sort of stuff. Like, I didn't have my head, couldn't get my head around it, sort of thing. You get me? I was just doing it for the fun of it, and yeah, after maybe like a year or two, yeah, I wouldn't say I've given up with football, but I sort of looked at football like this is not the route that's gonna get me to a point where I want to be in life now. So I can't put all my eggs into this one basket of football now, because it would just like it didn't make sense. I don't want to sound like what's the word? I don't want to sound don't want to put anyone else down, like to say it as if like once you get to my age or you're in and around my level that you can't make it, because you can. But for me personally, off of what I know and what the experiences that I've been through, I'm just not on putting my eggs into that basket of football anymore. So it's okay, cool. So I got a bit of a buzz with music now, and yeah, I just decided like, listen, I'm just gonna take it serious.
That was a good background story of how you got to this moment, you know, which is very important. That you're very aware of that, and also that you made those conscious decisions in juggling your football career. You know, I can't give advice to anybody watching. I can't say this is the way to do it. This is not the way to do it, because there's horses for courses. Different things work for different people. Many people can juggle what they're doing on top of other things. Let's say, for example, football. And football is very strenuous as well. It's a game where you know, it takes a lot of your mental capacity up. So, you know, me and you both know when you're playing at like a good level, you know, you'll come home and all you're thinking about is football. You know, there's not really any, you know, stopgap in doing other things. Obviously, you said you had a hobby to, you know, go over your time, spend your time outside of football. Many people play PlayStation. Many people, they do other things, innit? You know what I mean? Some people link gal. There's many things that people do, but obviously, music being in your mind, creeping in your mind as you got older. Would you say, in hindsight, you would have done anything different implementing your music in your football career, or would you have kept it the exact same how you've done it, where you didn't really want to put your any eggs in that football basket early on?
In terms of music, I wouldn't change anything. I would change stuff within my football career. Like I would have went a lot harder and just would have tried to be a lot more disciplined and detailed in what I wanted to do, and try and just basically become a better player for myself, not just to get the next contract at the team that I was at, sort of thing. So I would, yeah, that's what I would change my my output in the football career. Music, music probably would have always been second choice, and I wouldn't have chose it if football wasn't going well. Like if I was doing well in football, I promise you I would not be making music. Well, I say tell a lie, I would be making music, but I wouldn't be taking it serious as I am now. Do you get me?
Yeah, 100% get you. Having said that, I do believe everyone has their own path in their lives and also in their careers. Not everybody can become, that Wayne Rooney, that Raheem Sterling, where everything just clicked for them and their journey is just like that. With that also comes a lot of pressure and a lot of things that, let's say, for example, they can't do outside of football. Imagine if Raheem Sterling tomorrow decided that, maybe not now because the public a little bit off him, but let's say 5 years ago, decided that he wanted to make music, especially rap music. Imagine the backlash he would get. Yeah, it would have been crazy. So, you're on your career path now, but maybe, I don't know, only you might want to share or whatever, but maybe you have more peace of mind than other people do in the game of football. That's what I've realized when, you do other things, do other ventures, like I do this, for example, not common in football to speak on the camera about things so open. So I think it's not really to say that, your destiny was going to be playing in the Prem, for example, or whatever. Maybe that's not your destiny. Maybe your destiny is to be even bigger in music, and maybe you can be more open where you can share a lot of things and give back a lot of experiences that you had, that maybe the next person coming up, maybe they don't make the same mistakes that you did. That's the way I look.
Yeah, no, I'd
But
agree to